News alerts stack on your screen as distant sirens begin to rise outside. Flights divert from major cities.
We are Russia's next target.
A little bit complicated.
Came as devastating battles were still raging around the world.
Let's break down why, in a real World War III scenario, your chances of surviving are much lower than you think. When people hear the phrase World War III, many still picture trenches, bomber waves, and long lines of tanks. That image is familiar and, strangely, comforting, because it feels like something humans have handled before. Modern great power war is different. Along with missiles and aircraft, it brings cyber strikes that blind radar and shut down banks, attacks on communication cables under the sea, anti-satellite weapons that damage navigation and timing, and long-range missiles that can hit ports, refineries, and bases in minutes. A conflict today does not need millions of soldiers crossing borders at once. It needs a few key decisions, some misread signals, and weapons that can reach across continents without warning. You rely on electricity, data, GPS, and automated systems, and you assume they will always be there. In a real-world conflict, many of those systems are the first targets. Governments will try to keep some networks alive and defend the grid, but they cannot protect every node. You probably picture yourself hiding from blasts or gunfire. In reality, your first enemy is the silent loss of power, information, and services that your life is built on. In your head, war maps have two categories: hit or not. Reality is messier. Where you live changes what you face in the first hours and the months that follow. If your home is close to a capital city, a major port, a large airport, a refinery, or a known military base, you sit near high-priority targets. Blast damage, fires, or long-term fallout are all more likely, and you will not have much warning or room to move once events begin. Rural life feels safe by comparison, but distance is only part of the picture. If you live downwind of key strikes, near important rail lines, energy corridors, or large factories, you can still be inside dangerous fallout paths or see your area flooded by people fleeing cities. Few people have taken a hard look at a real risk map. You probably have not traced likely blast radii, wind patterns, or the routes people would drive to escape. You assume your town is too small to matter. In truth, your daily life is linked to the nearest node in the system. When that node fails, your quiet street suddenly becomes part of the front. The first day of a large war does not feel like a movie. It feels like confusion. Things work, then they do not. Headlines contradict each other. The noise hides how little you really know. In the first hour, most people are still trying to figure out what actually happened. Phones are in every hand. Some calls go through, many do not. Parts of the internet still work, but key sites crash under heavy use. Emergency alerts may come late, in fragments, or not at all, depending on where you live and which systems are damaged. From hour 1 to 6, the gap between rumor and fact grows. You see videos that may or may not be real. Local radio might be the only steady source, and even that can be unclear. Leaders are on secure lines, trying to confirm which cities, bases, and command centers are still there, and whether more strikes are expected. On your street, things look uneven. Some neighbors go to work as if it were just another day. Others pack cars and argue in driveways. You feel torn between staying put and running for the highway. In this window, your best move is usually to shelter where you are, away from windows, and start securing air and water if there is any chance of fallout. You fill containers, check simple filters, and listen, not scroll. The mistake that kills many people in real disasters is the urge to go and look. Curiosity pulls them toward blast zones, traffic jams, and angry crowds at gas stations and stores at the exact moment they need distance and cover. That choice cannot be undone. If the fighting and strikes continue, the story moves from a single day to a new normal. The shock fades, but the problems do not. They deepen and spread. At the national level, leaders are trying to do three things at once. They need to keep fighting, keep basic services alive where they can, and stop their own society from tearing itself apart. That means emergency laws, curfews in some areas, and early rationing in places far from any blast. For households, the first weeks feel like a slow squeeze. Store shelves thin out. Fresh food disappears first, then canned goods and basics. Fuel is harder to find, more expensive, or restricted to emergency use. Pharmacies run short on common drugs long before they run out of rare ones. You might have had a few days of food and water set aside. That looks solid on paper, but it is not enough to bridge weeks of disruption. You have never practiced living without steady power, card payments, public transport, or deliveries. You are used to comfort and choice, not limits. Common mistakes make this phase worse. People burn through supplies as if trucks will restock everything soon. They stay in homes that cannot hold heat or water if the grid fails. They keep waiting for a specific date when help will arrive. By the end of the first week, many families are tired, short-tempered, and scared. Arguments about who eats what, who works, and who leaves or stays become daily background noise in cramped rooms. As fighting drags on, it is not only cities and bases that suffer. The hidden systems that support daily life start to break. Each failure triggers another. When parts of the power grid go down, pumps for water and sewage stop working. Some areas switch to backup generators, but fuel is limited. Water treatment plants cannot run at full capacity, so tap water becomes unsafe or disappears. Boil notices spread, then become pointless when gas and electricity are scarce. Food moves on roads and rails. If there is no fuel, no spare parts, or no safe routes, cargo does not reach warehouses or stores. Shelves can go from full to empty in a few days, even in towns far from any bomb. Hospitals and clinics are hit by all of this at once. Power cuts, staff shortages, supply problems, and surging demand push them past their limits. Routine care vanishes. Simple injuries and infections become serious threats. You probably rely on clean tap water, card payments, phone maps, local pharmacies, and online advice. Remove those 5 supports, and you are forced into survival mode with no practice and little margin. For calm, realistic breakdowns like this, subscribe to the WW3 files and prepare without panic. These systems do not fail in a neat line. Some regions keep lights on and food moving for a while. Others fall into deep crisis very fast, sometimes without clear warning. Nuclear weapons are frightening, but for most survivors, the slow health effects are more dangerous than the initial flash. Blast and heat do huge damage near ground zero. Outside that circle, other risks grow over time. Fallout does not spread in a perfect ring. Wind, rain, terrain, and the height of the explosion shape where particles land. One town may see heavy fallout, while another, only a short drive away, gets much less. People who do not understand this may drive into a plume while trying to escape. Hospitals, clinics, and warehouses are already under strain or destroyed. Burn units and intensive care beds are some of the first resources to run out. Staff are tired and short on tools, and many are trying to care for their own families. Your health becomes a major factor. If you need insulin, blood pressure pills, inhalers, or other regular medicine, your timeline tightens fast. In many areas, there will be no way to refill those prescriptions. Even healthy people are at risk if they cut themselves, drink dirty water, or breathe too much thick smoke. Most people have never practiced decontamination. They do not know how to remove clothes safely, wash off fallout, or limit time outside when told to shelter. They also do not know which information to trust when networks are weak. Simple steps can reduce harm. Staying indoors, sealing a room for a short period, following official guidance, and avoiding needless travel. These are not magic shields. They only buy you a bit more time. Once it is clear that normal life is not coming back soon, people start to change. The same neighbors who waved before are now tired, hungry, and unsure who to trust. In some streets, people organize meetings, share tools, and rotate tasks like cooking or watch duty. In others, each family pulls back behind locked doors. The difference often depends on small things from before the crisis, like whether anyone knew each other's names. Law enforcement and local officials have limited reach. Some officers leave to protect their own families. Others stay but cannot answer every call. When food, fuel, and medicine are scarce, arguments can turn into fights fast. Your own risk climbs if you stand out. If people see that your lights stay on, that you still have fuel, or that your pantry is full, they will remember. Most will not be violent, but some will be desperate enough to cross lines they once thought unthinkable. Many people make two opposite mistakes. They either expect everyone to unite, or they assume everyone is out to get them. Both views are dangerous. The quieter path is harder. Low-profile living, small trusted circles, and simple security steps like better locks, lights, and clear rules for visitors help more than loud threats or lone hero plans. By this point, the title of this breakdown should feel less abstract. Surviving World War III. For more than a period is not only about luck, it is about having many advantages stacked in your favor before anything starts. Location matters. People who live far from major targets, with access to clean water, local food, and low crime, begin with better odds than those in dense cities. You cannot change this quickly, and most viewers do not live in perfect places. Material depth matters. Long-term survival needs more than a closet of canned goods. It needs weeks of water, stored food, backup heat, spare clothes, basic tools, first aid, and ways to cook and stay warm without the grid. Few households have even half of that in place. Skills matter. Medical training, basic repair skills, gardening, navigation without apps, and real experience working under stress all raise your chances. Watching videos is not enough. You need to practice. Social ties may matter most. A small group that shares work and information can handle more than any lone person with a bag of gear. Yet many people do not know the names of their neighbors and have never spoken about emergencies. If you are honest, You probably do not have the right mix of location, supplies, skills, and community. That is why, in a worst-case global war, your chances are far below what your gut tells you. Changing that starts long before the first alert. Even in a major global war, governments and militaries are not acting at random. They are trying to shape an outcome that keeps their state alive and their leadership in power. Their choices affect what you face, even if you never see them. In the early stages, leaders are focused on stopping further escalation. They may open secret channels, move forces into deterrent positions, or accept painful losses to avoid even worse ones. Later, they will try to rebuild basic services, restore trade, and keep some form of law in place. From your point of view, these moves show up as sudden changes in rules and access. One week, fuel might be reserved for emergency vehicles. Next, a small ration system appears. Aid might reach one region while another waits in the dark. Your personal survival odds depend partly on decisions made in rooms you will never enter. Target lists, ceasefire terms, evacuation corridors, and relief plans are shaped by politics, logistics, and chance. You cannot model these with any accuracy. Realistic hope means accepting both truths at once. A full World War III scenario would cause serious, long-lasting damage, and many people would not survive. At the same time, some countries and communities would adapt, rebuild, and learn to live with a harsher, poorer world. You are not meant to predict every war or control every outcome. You are meant to think clearly, prepare modestly, and stay human when the world feels broken and strange.